Welcome to the Nagual Zone. I'm Anaam. Let's talk about honesty. Self-honesty. Not lying to oneself. Brutal self-honesty. And you'd be surprised how many people have no idea what this means beyond a mental concept. They have no idea what this means emotionally. So there's 3 stages to the issue of self-honesty. The groundwork here, first of all, is it's not a debate, it's not an argument. You have to take into account that without learning brutal self-honesty, what I call brutal self-honesty, without learning that, mastering that for yourself within yourself, there is no possibility of growth. Okay? This fact, you can chew on it, but this fact you have to take into account first. So if you are actually interested beyond just claims, statements, and speeches to yourself and others, oh, but yeah, we should all be honest with ourselves. The politicians are not honest with us. Yeah, well, are you honest with yourself? Don't worry about the politicians for now. Are you honest with yourself? Yeah, let's see you answer that question first. So the first stage, which includes, well, these days, I would put the number at 99% of organisms that pass as human beings these days. 99% of them are in the first category. The first category of brutal self-honesty is actually what I've always said, flip that around. Brutal self-deception. 99% of what passes as human beings these days is engaged in brutal self-deception instead of brutal self-honesty. And these people are not interested. These people are not aware of the value of self-honesty beyond a mental concept or some kind of nice, vague philosophy. And that's for the saints. I'll just, I'll pray to God, or Jesus will heal me, or whatever idiotic nonsense that swims around in NPC heads. That is not even their own nonsense. It's nonsense that's been scripted for them by their overlords. That's the large chunk of humanity. Incapable, not even aware of the value of it, and certainly not having any clue how to go about cultivating brutal self-honesty. So these people are engaged either consciously and mainly unconsciously, inadvertently, without even realizing it. They are practicing relentlessly, unceasingly self-deception, and they're perfectly happy with it. They're fine. Don't disturb these people. Don't expect anything more than they can provide you, because guess who will get burnt? Nothing will happen to them. You will get burnt if you start expecting unrealistic things from people who are not capable of giving that to you. Then who's the bigger fool here? I want you to be sober and pragmatic in your dealings with the world. So let's grow up and realize this. No one will tell you. Your parents won't tell you this. Your teachers won't tell you this. You won't read this in any books. No podcast, nothing. You have got to realize that the first category, self-deception, complete lack of honesty. That is most humans that you will deal with. And if you are honest with yourself, yeah, we'll leave that one to your imagination. Second category. Now this category is where the rubber hits the road, but this category is where the most damage is done, the most self-damage is done, the most damage to the environment, to others is done. And without even knowing anything about it, not even realizing anything, just that's the way it is in the second category. This is the most dangerous category of the three categories. You know that saying, ignorance is bliss? It really is true. Because now, in the second category, you have people, some people out of that 1% of humanity left. So let's say 0.8% more of those, that 1%, they have started realizing the value of being honest with oneself, beyond just a mental concept that they just nod their heads and agree with, right? So what these people now do is, again, no awareness, without realizing it, they practice what I call part-time honesty, part-time truth-seeking. I'm a part-time lover. And I can guarantee you that if you aren't in the first category, I will put my money on it that you're in this category. This is the category, and the reason it becomes so dangerous is because here people think or feel the entitlement. The practitioner feels the entitlement to indulge in picking and choosing when it is convenient for them to be brutally honest with themselves and others. I mean, you can imagine how dangerous that is. I come face to face in the New Age community, the worst, the most dangerous junk, right? That is there, the New Age community. Almost everyone is practicing part-time self-honesty. Almost every religious person, and the more religious they are, the more they're practicing this. More picking and choosing for, at my convenience. The rest of the time, it's okay to lie to myself and to others. But at my convenience, when it's convenient for me, when it doesn't bother me, when I have to make no sacrifices, when I have to pay no costs, well, yeah, of course, yeah, brutally honest. Yeah, I'm being very honest with myself. Yes. Oh, yes, Jesus, Allah, whatever else. Suddenly come into play. All the Bibles are remembered, and all the Holy Qurans are remembered, and the verses are suddenly coming to mind. And in these religions, and New Age is just a big, loose collection of mini religions. That's all it is. So it's all the same delusion. It's all the same stuff. It has nothing to do with real life. The more qualified the adherents, the subscribers to these lifestyles, whether religious or New Agey type, the more qualified. Oh, I've been a psychic for 30 years. I'm a preacher. I'm a abbot. I'm a whatever their hierarchy is, just like the army, sergeant, then general, then major, all this kind of stuff. It's the same stuff. Corporates have the same hierarchy. These religions have the same hierarchy. It's the same stuff. There's no difference, just reskinned scripts, right? The higher you go up in these hierarchies, the more proficient these people are at having their base as lying and deception, but at their convenience, they become very truthful, very honest, when it is convenient for them. Remember what I said about, I will lay my money that you belong to this second category. What's the third category? The third category belongs exclusively to Toltec warriors. I can only talk about Toltec warriors because I don't want to overstep my boundary of knowing and experience. And I can tell you that Toltec warriors can't do without the third category. And the only time they will consciously go into category 2 or category 1 is when they're stalking. And so the Toltec warrior is able to make use of all 3 categories. Toltec warrior has no morals, but the Toltec warrior has an extremely strong spiritual compass. The baseline of the Toltec, the only way you can become a Toltec warrior in the first place, over many years of rigorous training, is by establishing a firm ground of brutal self-honesty at all times, repeated to the point where it becomes instinctive nature. It becomes instinctively the way to be. You don't have to think about it. You have to remember Bible verses, the 10 commandments, the 10 rubbishments. You are a brutally self-honest person unless you're stalking. Okay? Now you know why I bet my money that you are not in this category. But you can work up to this category. This is the rare of the rare. You'll be fortunate if you find one human genuinely, authentically operating in this bandwidth. And if you do, make sure you don't let that human being go from your life, that you have just found the greatest ally you could ever hope for. Okay? But that depends what you value, beyond just nodding yes, yes, yes with your head, right? Do you emotionally value someone who's going to give you the brutal truth every single time, whether you like it or not, whether it's the right time for you to hear it, and oh, you should have said that a bit more gently. Why can't you be more kind with your words? No Toltec warrior has ever demanded that of someone who is speaking honestly. Why? Please be gentle with your words. You're offending me. Yeah, you're in the second category. So shut the fuck up and go to the back of the class. You're pretending to be better than you really are. You're a weak fool. The strong open their arms and say, thank you. This was my blind spot. You have done me the greatest favor and given me the greatest blessing I could have asked for. Thank you so much. You are more of a best friend to me than my best friends who are all losers just like me. So brutal self-honesty at all times, whether it's convenient for you or whether it's the right time and picking and choosing, none of that. You're either a slave and a servant to brutal self-honesty 24 hours a day, or you're not. Anything less puts you in the second category. I will leave you to self-assess. I know where you are. Yeah, I just said that. Doesn't make me superior, it just makes me more observant. I want you to be self-observant, and you will find that you are in the second category. There's a long journey ahead of you, a long and very difficult road ahead of you before you can lay claim to the third category. Brutal self-honesty 100% of the time, all the time, till the day you die. On that note, let me know in the comments what you think of this video. Come attend the masterclass. You'll get a lot more out of it than these piddly videos I make. Believe me, you have learned nothing in this video. You've just nodded your head inside and you'll move on to your next entertainment. Okay? On that note, walk in freedom. I will see you in the next video. Farewell.